November 24th, 1971. A Boeing 727 soars through the stormy night sky. The cabin shakes as turbulence rattles the aircraft. At the rear of the plane, a man in a dark suit and tie stands at the open hatch. Strapped to his back, a parachute, in his hands, $200,000 in cash, neatly bundled. Below him, nothing but an endless stretch of darkness. Dense forests, icy rivers, an unforgiving wilderness. Then, he jumps. And just like that, he's gone. No one has seen him since. No body, no trace, no clues. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, the man who pulled off the most daring skyjacking in history and vanished into legend. Portland International Airport. A man dressed like a businessman walks to the ticket counter. He wears dark sunglasses. His hair is neatly combed. His face, unremarkable. He buys a one-way ticket to Seattle. Cash, no ID, no baggage. The name on the ticket, Dan Cooper. At 2:50 p.m., he boards Northwest Orient Flight 305 and takes a seat in the rear, 18C. The flight is routine. Passengers settle in. Flight attendants begin their service. Then, he hands a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. She tucks it into her pocket without reading it, assuming it's just another businessman trying to flirt. Then he leans in and whispers, calm, firm, and chilling, "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." Schaffner reads the message. 4 words stand out like fire in her mind. "I have a bomb." She looks up. His expression is unreadable, steady, cold. He cracks open his briefcase. Inside, a tangle of wires, red sticks, a battery. He speaks again, measured and precise. "I want $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, a fuel truck ready in Seattle." Her hands tremble as she takes the note to the cockpit. The pilots relay the message to air traffic control. The FBI is alerted. But inside the plane, silence. Passengers remain blissfully unaware. They sip their drinks, read their newspapers. Meanwhile, the most infamous hijacking in history is unfolding around them. At 5:24 p.m., the plane lands in Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. FBI agents stand by, watching. The ransom money is delivered. 4 parachutes, 2 reserve, 2 primary, are loaded onto the aircraft. Inside, Cooper remains calm. No panic, no rage, just quiet confidence. He releases the 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants. But the cockpit crew? They stay. He still needs them, because his plan is only just beginning. With the money and parachutes secured, Cooper gives his next command. Take off. Fly south, toward Mexico. Keep the altitude low, 10,000 feet. Speed, 170 knots. No sudden movements, and one more thing. Keep the rear stairway unlocked. The pilots glance at each other. They know what that means. He's going to jump. The plane lifts off at 7:40 p.m., cutting through the night. Rain lashes against the windows. Turbulence shakes the cabin. At 8:13 p.m., the crew feels it. A sudden shift. The plane's tail dips slightly. The rear stairway opens. And then, nothing. Cooper is gone. When the plane lands at Reno Tahoe International Airport, FBI agents storm the aircraft. Inside, they find Cooper's black clip-on tie. Left on his seat, a mother-of-pearl tie clip, a small but telling clue. 2 parachutes, one untouched, the other cut apart, possibly used to secure the money to his body. Cigarette butts left behind in the ashtray, but the man himself, gone. Within hours, law enforcement launches one of the most extensive manhunts in U.S. history. Helicopters and planes fly over the suspected drop zone, an isolated stretch of dense forest near Ariel, Washington. Search teams, including FBI agents, state troopers, and volunteers, comb through miles of wilderness, hoping to find parachute fabric, money, or even Cooper's remains. Rivers are dredged to look for a body or the ransom bag, but the landscape works against them. Thick trees, deep ravines, and freezing winter conditions make searching nearly impossible. No footprints, no parachute, no body. The FBI tracks every single serial number on the $200,000 ransom money, distributing them to banks, casinos, racetracks, retail stores. They warn businesses nationwide to be on alert, but months turn into years and not a single bill surfaces. Investigators interrogate ex-paratroopers, criminals, and anyone with aviation knowledge. They interview hundreds of potential suspects, including missing persons, military veterans, and even airline employees. Yet, not a single person can be definitively linked to the crime. The search drags on for decades, until 1980. Then, 9 years later, in 1980, a breakthrough. On the banks of the Columbia River, a young boy named Brian Ingram digs in the sand during a family camping trip. His hands hit something solid. He pulls it out, bundles of rotting $20 bills wrapped in plastic. The bills are partially decayed, but the serial numbers are still intact. The FBI is alerted, and after an investigation, they confirm a perfect match. These are part of the $200,000 ransom money Cooper demanded. The questions arise, but how did the money get there? Had Cooper buried it? Did it wash down river over the years? Or was it hidden and left behind as part of his escape plan? What makes this discovery even stranger is that the location, a sandy stretch of riverbank, is far from the drop zone where Cooper jumped from the plane. If Cooper had made it out alive, why leave behind the money here? Could it suggest a failed escape attempt, or did he stash it there, knowing the area would be searched? The discovery raises more questions than answers. Where was Cooper? Why did the money end up in such a remote place? And what did it mean for the story of his disappearance? For decades, theories have swirled. Was he a skilled paratrooper, or did he die in the wilderness, his body swallowed by the earth? Suspects emerge, each more intriguing than the last. Richard Floyd McCoy, a Vietnam veteran who pulled off a nearly identical hijacking just months later. He was arrested, but the FBI ruled him out. Robert Rackstraw, a former pilot, explosives expert, and ex-convict. Many believed he had the skills to be Cooper, but no concrete proof was ever found. Dwayne Weber, a man who, on his deathbed, confessed to his wife, "I'm Dan Cooper." She later found his old notebooks, filled with cryptic codes and FBI terminology. But nothing ever led to the real man behind the legend. In 2024, a pivotal discovery was made. A man named Dan Grider found a modified military parachute and skydiving logbook in a North Carolina garage. The FBI is now analyzing it, suspecting a link to Richard Floyd McCoy, who executed a near-identical hijacking after Cooper. Additionally, a metal fragment on Cooper's thigh, identified as a rare combination of stainless steel and titanium, suggests he may have worked in specialized metal fabrication. Could these be the final pieces of the puzzle? The FBI may have closed the case, but the search for Cooper's true identity is far from over. D.B. Cooper wasn't just a hijacker, he became a myth, a ghost, an American outlaw who defied the system and disappeared without a trace. Some say he lived out his days in South America, others believe he blended back into society, an ordinary man hiding an extraordinary secret. And then, there are those who say he never survived the jump, that his body still lies somewhere deep in the wilderness waiting to be found. But the truth is we don't know. And maybe, just maybe, we never will.